This is Astro, Amazon's exclusive invite-only robot that can help you around your house, from patrolling your halls at night to even delivering your drinks. Now, we've had Astro in the studio for just over a month, and we've been pushing it to its limits, sometimes beyond its limits, in a quest to figure out if Amazon's $1,600 robot can possibly be worth the money. Now, at its most basic level, Astro is Alexa on wheels. It's the main way you interact with it, and anything Alexa can do, well, Astro can do as well. There are 5 major use cases for Astro, and each one of them is built on its standout feature, which is its ability to move around intelligently. Amazon has packed this thing with sensors and cameras and advanced algorithms that can process everything in real time, to the point where Astro is able to navigate its environment better than any other consumer-grade robot I've ever seen. Not only is it faster, going at up to 2 miles per hour, but it also moves with this sense of precision and confidence that just makes it feel more alive. It's had no issues navigating our typical studio environment, which consists of tripods and stands everywhere, to the point where we decided we needed to give Astro a real challenge, making an obstacle course designed to make Astro's life difficult. We started off by surrounding it in a box of cones with only a narrow exit. This was enough to trip up one of our robot vacuums, but as soon as Astro figured out where it was, it found the exit and moved on to the next stage, easily going around the cones that we set in its path, and then finding the most tricky part of the course, which requires entering a narrow pathway and then making a sharp turn. While Astro did take a second to figure this part out, it seemed to use that time to scan ahead, where it was able to make the decision right out the gates and go straight towards the exit on the left, where, probably after wondering why there's cones everywhere, it made a beeline towards the finish line at full speed with full confidence. Now, technically, one of our other LiDAR-equipped robots was able to complete the course as well, but the problem with it was it kept on cheating, pushing through the cones instead of going around them, which I think is a testament to how intelligent Astro really is. Now, while Astro hadn't seen that obstacle course in the studio beforehand, it was familiar with our studio in general. So we wanted to up the ante and see how far we could push things. I asked Astro to follow me, and it turns out that if you ask it to, Astro will follow you to the ends of the earth, even into uncharted territory, and this is really where Astro impressed me the most, because it had never seen the light of day up until this point, but it was still able to follow me down this accessibility ramp and then make a sharp left turn without any issues. It followed me in the street, it knew anytime I was about to fall off a curb it had never seen before, and it even crossed this super bumpy road, which I'm sure Amazon's engineers never designed it for. Going outside with it really felt like I was just walking my robot pet. Bringing us to our first major use case, one that Amazon doesn't really mention in their marketing materials, in that Astro is kind of like a robot pet, with its small footprints, its animated face and expressions, and all the little noises it makes. It's undeniably cute, and it acts a lot like a dog. It greets us in the morning when we get to work by recognizing our faces. It has its favorite spots in the studio that it likes to hang out in. Like in the mornings I come in and I just find it hanging around in my office. And it even has little tricks, from acting like different animals to pretending to be a little vacuum. You just can't help but to like it. And while this alone may not be worth $1,600, I can see people who aren't able to have dogs or cats in their apartments, or parents who just want to give their kids a pet without the added responsibility, finding some value in this. But it's the second use case that probably will move the needle for most people in Astro's ability to be your home monitor. It has multiple cameras, one that's just above the screen and one that's a periscope that can rise 42 inches up from the floor, allowing Astro to help you check in on your house when you're away. Obviously, this is useful for home security. It can even do automated patrols with a Ring Pro subscription, but my personal favorite thing about it is the viewpoints that you can set in the app. I can't even count how many times over the years I've had to turn my car around to see if I turned the stove off or if my wife had unplugged her hair straightener, but with Astro, that's no longer an issue. I could just go in the app and have Astro check on it for me. Maybe not worth $1,600, but I know that some people are gonna find value in this. Now, the third use case has to do with this little cargo bin it has on the back, which can not only hold things as long as it follows you around, but because Astro can recognize faces like I was saying earlier, it can also deliver things to other people on the same floor. Now, Amazon didn't give us an official weight limit for this cargo bin, but when we tested it with 5 pounds, it was still able to handle it. At 10 pounds, Astro did start breaking randomly a little bit, and it was no longer moving as elegantly, but it was still technically able to get from point A to point B. But then at 15 pounds, it just started freaking out, spinning around as if it was trying to throw the weight off of its back. So unofficially, at least on smooth hard floors, I'd say that the max weight on here is 10 pounds, and probably less if you have rugs and carpet. In terms of accessories for the cargo bin, it ranges from a dog treat dispenser to Tupperware, and Amazon also includes one with Astro in this cup holder attachment, which is probably only designed for bottles with caps given the slim slots on here, but we just had to test it. We filled up an open cup of iced cold Gatorade, and despite making some really sharp and aggressive turns, Astro still managed to avoid spilling a single drop. Sure, it was on our smooth concrete floors, but still, pretty impressive. Now, while having a little bin on wheels may not be worth the price on its own, I think, again, some people are gonna find value in it, even if it's just for holding your drink as you clean your house, or for having a stash of baby wipes on demand for a busy parent. All right, the fourth use case for Astro is my personal favorite, and it is completely ridiculous, but you can technically use Astro as a power bank on wheels, because behind the cargo bin is a USB-C port. And while it's not the most powerful, the highest reading we got was 7.5 watts, it was still enough to charge the iPhone 14 Plus from 1% to 12% in 10 minutes. Although Astro did end up losing 10% of its own battery while doing so, but the good news is Astro can charge itself whenever it needs to. That's something that no other power bank can do, and it actually charges pretty quickly, with 10 minutes giving Astro over 30% battery. Now, on its own, this would probably make Astro the most expensive power bank on the planet, but if you've ever had a game controller give you a low battery warning while you're in the middle of an intense game, you can see how calling Astro over to help would be nice. Last but not least, use case number 5 for Astro is it's basically an Echo Show 10 on wheels. It's got a 10-inch screen, which means you could watch YouTube or go on video calls with it, although honestly the viewing angles really aren't ideal for that. But more practically, it's got this 2.1 speaker system, so you can have Astro follow you around while playing music that actually sounds pretty good. The speaker gets really loud, it's actually louder than the 2nd gen HomePod, although to be clear, I still prefer the quality of the HomePod's audio, but at least compared to something like the HomePod Mini, it's not only louder, but it also has significantly more bass. Again, on its own, probably not worth the money, but there is something special about having your Bluetooth speaker essentially follow you around and then go and charge anytime it runs low on battery. And combined with all of the other use cases that Astro brings to the table, I think there is at least some argument to why it could be worth the money. But we haven't really talked about any of the downsides, and there are downsides. For one, Astro can't go up or down stairs, which if you don't live in a one-story house, basically makes it half as appealing. And two, the software with Astro can be kind of buggy. Sometimes the app crashes, sometimes you just need to restart Astro to get it back to normal. And then there have been multiple instances where Astro has gotten stuck on something overnight and had its battery run out. So there's definitely a lot of room for improvement with Astro. It's nowhere near perfect, and even if it was perfect, I don't think with the limited set of use cases that for most people the price will be justified. But at the same time, I really like where Astro is going. It's the first helper home robot that I've ever used, and somehow, even though Astro's personality is pretty limited, it has grown on me to the point where I really don't want to send it back.